Okay. No, I'm just saying, welcome to the late night chat, and I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. Boy, it was intense here. Hundreds and hundreds of people coming through. So, but I've got the next couple of days off, so I'm gonna uh, recover. But anyway, so can you post the say?
I can. I made it in really big font, so you can
Oh,
tell me
okay, yeah.
whoever you want
Hey,
to call.
Virginia, do you feel like reading the email?
I can, but I might cry.
Oh,
Oh, better yet.
wow, that's going to be 7 or 8 pages with that.
I'll do my best, and if I need
Okay,
to take a break,
okay,
maybe I'll pass the torch.
yeah.
Hi, everybody. All right, topic, major crises in Baba. Dear folks of Baba, this topic was suggested by several of you recently, dealing with major crises. In the life of everyone, there are the inevitable ups and downs, and we usually manage to muddle our way through them with Baba, and soon are back on an even keel. However, every few years we encounter in our path a major crisis which persists for months or years. Whew. I think I need to pass this on to someone else.
Okay, what about Anthony?
Is it around? Is it?
And I can pick it up here.
Yeah.
Oh,
However, every few years, we encounter in our path a major crisis which persists for months or years in spite of all our sincere efforts to give it over to Baba. This might be the death of a near and dear one, a major disaster like the recent hurricane that totally upends our living situation, a romantic breakup that plunges us into profound hurt and self-doubt, the humiliation of being fired from our job, dealing with a persistent addiction in ourselves or our children, crises which cast a shadow over our life that persists despite our continuous focus on Baba. How have you handled these extreme situations, and what helped you move through them most effectively? What methods have worked for you? Has it been of help to go to India or other Baba places for relief and clarity? What painful stages has your heart had to go through in regaining your composure? Why are such situations built into the fabric of life? Why has Baba designed life for everyone with these serious obstacles, painful situations, and setbacks? Have these crises contributed to your inner growth and awakening? Has your faith in Baba sometimes been shaken? And have you come through shocking circumstances with a deeper maturity and compassion for yourself and others? Have you learned new and invaluable things about Baba's presence in your life that could not have been learned in any other way? Would we have the empathy we have today without these painful crises? Has it resulted in a more intimate companionship with Baba? In the case of a natural disaster, people of different political stripes, social standing, and opposing religious beliefs sometimes forget their differences in an effort to help one another. A sense of real community emerges for the time being. Have you noticed that such major crises have had a lasting positive effect in you, drawing you closer to Baba? He has said great suffering and intense sorrow indicate that happiness is about to dawn. Anything beyond your capacity will necessarily change your capacity, because so long as everything is within your limits, you don't know what is in his love, Jeff.
I think you got cut off there. Read that last sentence.
Sure. Anything beyond your capacity will never change your capacity, because so long as everything is within your limits, you don't know what is beyond them. In his love, Jeff.
Thank you. Yeah. And like I say, we've all, I'm sure, faced a lot of this at one time or another, a real major crisis. And I mean, does anybody want to venture out on this subject?
Yeah, I will.
Okay,
I'll start.
good.
Many years ago, I was asked to join the acupuncture curriculum to go to acupuncture college and get licensed. And I thought I could never do that. I'm not smart enough to do that. No way. I'm not going to be studying all those things. And the more that I talked to Baba, the more I realized, well, Baba really wanted me to do this. I was convinced Baba wants me to do this, even though to some of you this may be nothing, but to me it was like going to the university, you know, in Mars and trying to get the best degree ever. So I put it in my application. I got accepted, and when I opened the envelope that said I was accepted, I started to cry, because I knew now that I had to do what Baba wanted me to do, which Marta, the personality, didn't want to do. But I knew that Baba always gives us a gift to help us grow. So I started acupuncture college. I'm going to cut it short. I went to acupuncture college part-time for 10 years. I did my massage work during the day. I would start classes at 7. I would take classes till 10:30, 11. I'd go get something to eat and drive back to Ojai. So this was most of the week I was doing this, because I thought, well, baby steps I can handle, but big curriculums I can't. So that went on, and I'm thinking, okay, well, Baba's behind me. This is going to work out. Everybody was praising me, and I was getting great grades, and I was in the clinic, and everybody loved me, and I was a natural, and everybody was just feeding my ego, and I felt totally natural, because I'd had years and years of massage work. And so I took the exams in Sacramento the first time, and I didn't pass. I thought, okay, well, I have good grades, maybe I just don't know how to take tests. Then I studied for another year, and I went and took the exams the second time. I didn't pass. And by that point, I was exhausted, financially, physically, emotionally. And I thought, well, this is weird, Baba. I keep praying and praying, and I thought you want me to do this, and what's going on? Anyway, all my instructors encouraged me to take the exam one more time, and I did. Just by Baba's grace, I was able to, to fly over to Sacramento and take the exam, pay all that money, spend hours and hours, and I didn't pass the third time. And then everything that I thought I was and going to be just went. I said, I can't do this again, Baba. I just can't. I don't have it. And I literally was totally exhausted. And I thought, well, this is weird. I was so sure that this is what Baba wanted me to do. How could I not pass 3 times? I'm smart. I know this stuff. And then I thought, oh, well, Baba didn't want me to pass. Maybe he doesn't want me to do this. Meanwhile, during this 10 years involved in this curriculum, I had a relationship with one of the instructors that completely demolished my existence. It was so intense and so painfully ended. I also had a scholarship internship with another teacher that turned out to be wonderful. So I had all of these ups and downs during this 10 years. And to me, this was going to be studying acupuncture, get my license, and go practice. That is not what happened. And at the end of that, my identity of what I thought was going to be my future in my retirement program, which was being an acupuncturist, because you can't do massage forever, it didn't happen. So then I thought, well, now what does Baba want me to do? I had no idea. I wasn't even asking him. I was too exhausted. And I kept praying to Baba, and I really got an insight, and it changed my life. And the insight was, just because you think Baba wants you to do something does not mean Baba has to do it. He just wants you to go there and put in the effort and then see what happens next. It may not follow what your ego thinks is going to follow for your nice, beautiful little life. And that's been very valuable, because now I know Baba's tricky. But the thing is, he's tricky because he gives me what I think I want, and then he changes it after he's already nabbed me. And I'm like going, wait a minute, I thought I was going this way, now this way. But this is a beautiful aspect of our beloved, isn't it? And it's his grace now, because I turned into kind of a germophobic in my older age. I don't like to be around sick people. I don't want to treat sick people. So in his wisdom, I wouldn't have been a great acupuncturist, because usually they're dealing with sick people. Anyway, that was my story. That was 10 years that all of that happened. And I'm in Baba's training, as we all are now. Thanks for listening.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
Can I ask you a question, Marta?
You always do, Diane.
I'm
Yes.
going to disappoint. When you say that Baba wanted you to go to acupuncture school, what is that? You know, I'm literal. It's hard for me if I don't wrap my brain around it. What does that mean, that he wanted you? How did you get that message?
Well, all of the forces after that question encouraged me towards that direction. So once I said to Baba, okay, if this is what you want me to do, I don't want to do it because I'm scared. Then I knew I was going to have to do something, because Baba wants us to deal with our fears, or wants me to deal with my fear. So then he had one of the instructors write a big letter of recommendation for me. He had somebody else write a big check for me, so they would pay for my entrance fee. You know, all of this grace came, and I couldn't walk away from it, because it was very clear in my heart that this is what Baba wanted for me. Wanted for me.
That's a great, thank you very, very much.
Sure.
You still can go back, you know.
Oh God.
Yeah, just give it another 10 years, Marta.
Oh yeah.
No. Anyone else want to check in?
Let's go to Anthony.
Oh,
Hey, J Bob, everyone.
yeah.
There's multiple of these I could share. I guess I'll just share the current one. It's been going on for 2 years, and for certain reasons I can't get too detailed with it, but I guess I can kind of give the gist of it. But anyways, yeah, I've been a registered nurse for about 15 years, background in ICU and a couple other things. And I've worked at the same place my entire career and have just really had a spectacular career at this hospital. I mean, really just like a picture perfect kind of thing. And I've had some kind of difficult jobs, and finally, after working there for a while, I got my dream job that I'd always wanted, working in the recovery room for neurosurgery and cardiothoracic surgery. So, anyways, yeah, some stuff happened where my mom ended up having a spinal surgery, and she came out onto our unit, and had some really bad stuff happen post-surgically. And I was in her room when it happened. And anyways, and all the mess that like went down with her crashing, I was falsely accused of doing some things that I never did in that room by some other nurses that were in there. And other people. But anyways, I ended up being fired from the hospital after a perfect career for something I never did. And my mom and I were involved in a lot of just crazy stuff with attorneys, and we were going to sue the hospital, all this stuff. And so this transpired for over 2 years here, and we did everything possible to try to talk to the administrators at the hospital about what happened, and how incorrect the accusations were, and we just got denied at every level. And every run-in with an attorney, there's this roadblock, that roadblock. So anyways, I ended up just letting my whole career go and just went in a completely different direction. And so the gist of like what I learned from it just was seeing a couple of people that I really trusted that turned on me in the process of, most likely to save their own tails. It just, in seeing just the magnitude of the loss, it just left me with this profound disillusionment for the world. Just that you can so sincerely work at something for so long, and at the snap of a finger, it's just all gone. And people that you thought you trusted, turn on you to try to save themselves. And the place that you ended up working ended up not being the like benevolent place that you thought. It just, a lot happened. But anyways, the people that showed up to help me in that time, were my own family and friends and wife and some past coworkers. And I just saw how Baba showed up to rescue me and to just keep my psyche from falling apart. And as this is all kind of passing, I mean, it's kind of still going on, but I don't know, just the leftover lesson and feeling I have is how protected I was from Baba and comforted by him. And just all these little things showed up to keep me afloat and to keep my inspiration and to keep me happy, to keep me thankful. And all the things that I thought my security rested on, with my job, my coworkers, my administrators, my record from all of these years at this institution, with just seeing how all those things ended up turning on me. I don't know. It made me really realize that in the end, Baba is all we're going to have, and that there's really no security in this world at all. And I just feel very safe with Baba and very not safe with the world. And it's just made me really turn away from so many other different worldly things, because I think I just kind of realize now that they're all on that shaky ground like that. And just seeing how he shows up so beautifully to take care of us, and that's really what we need to lean on. Because at the end of the day, when we don't have money, we don't have food, we don't have this or that, Baba's the one that shows up and, gives us that bed, gives us that food, gives us clothing, gives us friendships. So I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. It's just, I think it brought me so much closer to Baba, with this knowing that he's really the only one that's going to be there for you in the end. So I feel like a clinging to him that was never like that before, and just like a turning away from the world. But realize when I do start getting back involved with the workplace again, it's going to be on his terms, and not because, oh my God, I want to do this career. Oh, I'd love to do that. I'm going to set back in carefully by his guidance and grace. So anyways, I'm doing great. I feel great. I know in the perspective of like death and other severe losses, this really isn't a big one. It's just a career. And a lot of people have probably been through a lot worse stuff than this. But anyways, that was my lesson.
Beautiful. Wow.
Very nice.
Wonderful. Anthony. Yeah, you came through it. I mean, this is this is the topic. This is when people suggested this topic. This is the kind of these are the stories that the war stories we've been through. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Anthony, how's
you.
your mom? Anthony, how's your mom?
Yeah, she's doing good now. She was shaky for a while, because mentally this really pounded her into the ground in the middle of recovering from a 3-level spinal fusion. So it took her quite a while to get good again, but she's good now. She's happy. And thanks so much for asking. Yeah, we're by Baba's grace, everybody's doing good and healthy and happy.
Yeah. And you got Emmy with her nurturing nature to help you through anything. Yeah.
Yeah, she's been a total godsend. If he wasn't there, and yeah, I don't know where I would be. And I just see her as an extension of, Baba and this whole thing, and just so thankful.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Let's go to Paula.
Am I muted or can you hear me?
Oh, you're okay. I muted
Yeah.
you before
Oh.
when others were talking. but-
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to say, Anthony, that was the most beautiful story. I mean, I've been a nurse for, I've been retired. I was a nurse for like 43 years. So that story touches me. And Marta, I had a very similar kind of thing happen in California before I left Northern California, Sonoma County. I had a son that he needed a life change. Really, he was hanging out with the wrong crowd, and then my brother-in-law at the time, he called me up and he asked me what I'm doing because my son was on the East Coast with his dad, and it wasn't working out. They went to a special school. We put him in, and they were in crisis, and anyhow, I was whipped out of my life. In 4 weeks, I had to get my entire life together. I was in graduate school at the time. I was doing an internship in Sanfray therapy in Marin County. Everything was good. I put all my stuff in storage. I was in a little cabin. And, life was going on. I had plans to get licensed in California as a marriage and family therapist, gone to graduate school and all of that. And within 1 month, I had to pack up my whole life of 20. I guess I was there about 24 years, and moved back east. And it was the kind of thing where in California you have to be a marriage and family therapist. They have their own exam. It's the only state in the country that has their own exam, and so it got in the way of me to getting licensed in California. So I was able to get my hours back east when I moved to initially Florida, where I had family. But it was like the darkest years of my life. Those 4 years, I kind of thought I'd get support of my mom and my folks, and then my brother lived there, and it didn't work out like that. So it was very difficult. I call it like one of my dark night of the souls, And so both your stories are so profound but the thing is, in my life, I feel like when a chapter is done, it is done. And it's almost like a book closes and I am literally whisked out of my life as I know it. And that's what those time, I think I'm covering myself. Okay, good. Okay. Anyhow, I don't want to ramble on, but both your stories totally. And then I once had another thing I wanted to just say to Anthony is like, when I was in I guess it was a few years before I left California, I was working as a psychiatric nurse. At that time, half of my life I spent in hospice and end of life care. And then half of it, I decided to get work in psych because I was going to become a therapist. And anyway, we had a patient on the floor, and she took her own life. She'd overdosed. And So there was going to be a lawsuit. Not that I had done anything. I certainly didn't do anything to, but there was going to be a lawsuit, and it was thrown out of court because her family was ripping off Medicaid. And so it was thrown out and it never came to be. But so I felt like I didn't have a lot of support around that. And so I know how the workplace can be. And anyway, I just had such compassion for both your stories, and I appreciate it so much. And there's one other thing I wanted to say, Jeff. I wanted to tell you that I was trying to get your email address last week, and from Diane and Terry, and I wanted to write you, but it didn't go through, so I don't think I had the right email. But I just wanted to tell you that I so much wanted to wish you a happy birthday, and I missed the actual night of your celebration, but watched it on recording. And it was so incredibly beautiful. And I so much wanted to let you know and send you my just blessings. And I just so much enjoyed that evening. And that week was so incredibly rich. Was that the week that there was Jane Haynes celebrated? And then a few nights later, it was it Money? The same. It was like ridiculous. The richness of that week was unbelievable. So I was just like, and then I had a crisis last week. I fell, I tripped over things in my house, and I fell, and I broke my entire television. I fell on this screen, and you can't, these televisions are gone when you do that. The whole thing splintered and all that. So anyway, but I wanted to tell you, I'm rambling on, and I'm sorry about that, but I just wanted to thank you. And this is so rich. I love this hour, and I just feel bad that I don't know, the last few years I've just I live in Asheville. We had quite a trauma here in our community, and although it's an incredibly rich Baba community, and I love it here, but we're all recovering slowly. But anyway, much love to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Paula, and thank you for the birthday wishes. And we'll just see.
And I wanted to know, and I what I wanted to do is, I don't know, I'm not on a email list for getting the, I wanted to get on that email list.
Okay.
And I don't know how to do that. That's one of the main things.
We got to get, we'll put Angela's email on the chat, and maybe you can contact her.
And I contact her? Okay, that would be good. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Hey, Baba.
Yeah.
Give me a few minutes, I'll put it up. Let's go to Virginia.
Hey, everybody. So yeah, very pertinent topic, and brings a lot up. So I live in the Asheville area as well, and so certainly our community has just been devastated by the hurricane. And from the moment that happened, just trying to remember Baba as we're walking through what our community is going through and trying to help those who've been affected. And within a week or so, well, it's a couple of weeks after the hurricane happened, my youngest child, who used to split custody between me and her dad has been emotionally abusive to me for years, and to two of our other children as well. And he managed to convince her that she didn't want to live with me anymore. And she kind of informed me of that very suddenly. And so it's like, communities in crisis, like one of my most important relationships in my life has been in crisis, and it's been really tough. And through the midst of that, I work in inpatient palliative care at the hospital. I'm a nurse practitioner. And so going through things that feel, of course, big in my life, but then walking with people as they're making huge decisions and kind of encountering their own mortality and coming either to the brink of the edge of their lives or starting to at least become aware of the fact that that could be a possibility in the future. And I mean, it's such a gift that Baba's placed me there because I love this work that I do. But emotionally, trying to be able to be there authentically for people while I'm dealing with a huge trauma in my life, several traumas, it's been a lot. And up until now in my life, I've always felt Baba emotionally, and I've been kind of so ripped apart in my heart that I haven't been feeling him, which has been really tough. But I've got pictures all over my house and, just saying his name every day and bear his name and been drawing pictures of them and just trying to, it's like, I think he's maybe reminding me that the connection goes deeper than emotion and deeper than thought and deeper than physical life. And that even if I don't feel it, it's there. And that I think I have to be willing to allow some of the most important things in my life to kind of be stripped away and to still find them there. So that's what I'm trying to work with right now. So thanks for listening, and Jay Mama. And happy birthday, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. You know, Baba, Arnavas, one of the women Mandali, there was a time when she wasn't feeling Baba, and Baba said, I didn't say to feel me, I said to love me. And that knowing that Baba is here is a great consolation, even if we can't always feel him. I mean, even Mara once, I remember her saying, sometimes we feel empty and depressed, but we know Baba wants us to be cheerful, so we make efforts to be cheerful. I mean, Mara herself, who's so loving, it's amazing. But yeah, and when you're going through such difficult times, it's so hard to feel. Sometimes Baba's very present, and sometimes we're just too hurt to feel, you know.
Can I just
But
ask, where you live? Where she lives? In the Astral area?
I live in Candler, so
Oh,
our
in
home's
Candler? I live in I live
Mhm.
right next to Candler.
Oh yeah.
If you wanted to, if you could just give me your telephone number in the chat,
yeah,
I can do that.
I would love
Yep.
that.
And there were
It's
three people.
Virginia? Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were three people here at the center just this last week from Candler. Is it Candler?
Candler, yeah. Where
Yeah.
Isaac and Sarah were there really recently.
Yeah.
They're two of my godchildren,
Yeah.
kind of like very close
Both.
family friends.
And yeah, and there were even more
Mhm.
beside them. I didn't realize they were from Candler. Yeah. Anyway, good. Thank you, Virginia.
Let's go to Colorado.
Well, well, I don't want to carry on because I've already done a lot of that here and in the evening art and all this stuff. And I've just recently I've been through a lot of stuff, but all of this for me and for you and each of us, because each of us we know has gone through a lot of this. But it's always about letting go, whether you want to or even know that that's what you're supposed to be doing. But holding on to Baba is just, it's like having that little life buoy out in the ocean and you're bobbing around and it's like, just hang on to the life buoy. But my story right now is about someone who I knew forever as a Baba lover in this life, sort of. She was a Denver Baba lover. She's gone now, she's passed. But the reason I tell this story is because I always admired her after I heard this story, because it had to be so deep for her that it was beyond my capacity to truly grasp. I know it was, but her name was Beth, but she lived in Denver. She grew up over here in Westlow, but she heard of Bob and lived in Denver and had two kids with three different husbands each. So that was a total of six. And the last one was named Brandon, a little baby. And she came over here to visit her mom and all, and brought all their kids with her at one time. And she was living in Denver. And and she would come to the Baba meetings off and on. She was very busy with the kids and all. And evidently they were down by the river playing somewhere, and there was a couple little sand pools, and she wasn't watching him that closely. And the little baby Brandon, at 2 years old or something, I don't know, fell face first into the puddle and drowned. And it tore her up where she could not even believe. Jeff knows more about this than me, but she just couldn't believe it. And I didn't know this story for years, but anyway, so she packed up and moved to Myrtle Beach, and she led a very active life there, and kind of an erratic personality, but someone who I could not help but like and embrace as a fellow Baba lover, just Baba lover, period. That's it, you know, that's how we are. And I have to tell you that just because what she went through in order to do that was she suffered so deeply. And, you know, I don't know, but I don't think men can understand what women go through to be mothers and to have a child. I know I can't do that. And so it's something that I just have to honor, period. But so she eventually left Myrtle Beach, and or few kids are Baba lovers and whatnot, but I met them all again at her funeral, and one of her daughters reminds me exactly of her. And she had, I think, already passed. She was in the hospital, and for some reason, this daughter was her second child, I believe, but she was the only one in the house, and I'd been there many times, but and she just gave me this hug, and I swear to God, it was like Beth hugging me through her daughter. She just would not let go. She just gave me that true heart, that true love, that bond, you know. But anyway, thanks. That's all I really have to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful poet. Her poetry was magnificent. Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in.
Okay.
We were at Marana a couple years ago for their Sahavas, and the twins were there. And they told this story about that Mani told the story that Ba will never take away your suffering. That's not what he does. He doesn't do miracles, but he will always be there to hold your hand with it. And the stories tonight have been incredibly gut-wrenching. My heart and compassion go out to each one of you, especially when, because of the way my brain thinks, I'd want, you know, when something unfair and unjust happens, I get caught up in trying to understand the kind of why me. And through my indoctrination of accepting Baba, for lack of a better way to say it, it's taught me that I don't always know what's right for me. And I don't have to understand what's going on. And I think being out of control, especially in each one of your situations, I mean, I don't know, does this kind of suffering, is this because Baba wants us to get, each one of you talked about getting closer and closer to Baba during this time. So is this his way of making it happen? And if so, I want to just say, Baba, I'm willing to get as close as possible without this heart-wrenching suffering. I'm going to just keep my best. I don't mean to simplify it, but.
You know, there's one line of Baba's that I subscribe to heavily, where he says, "He who remembers God in his hour of happiness remembers God best." So when things are going well, I make sure I remember Baba, because otherwise I might get the opposite. You know, I might get the suffering. But you know, remembering him when things are going well is a very valuable thing, I feel, because otherwise his job is to get us to remember him. And if I just kind of forget him when in the good times, I could be inviting some bad times. Uh-oh. They're calling me on the walkie-talkie. 1 second. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rod.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on the quote from who was it? Arnabas, I think he said, about what she said that Baba had told her. And it made me remember my favorite Baba quote in the book by Delia, The Ocean of Love. This is a quote I've gone back to over and over again. It just really struck me. I'm just going to take an excerpt from the letter that Baba wrote to Delia. He wrote Delia a lot of letters. A lot of letters went back and forth. And she suffered, one of her main sufferings was that she wasn't with Baba. And Baba had to talk, explain things and comfort her and, all that in so many letters. So this one says, all are one. And toward this one, the motive too is one. To please him. Whom to please is to know. There is no other knowing. Feeling is not knowing. I'll just go on a little bit more here. To please me is to do, but doing what? That which your beloved commands you. This is my way, my path. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. My way with you all is the shortest way to union, which I long for infinitely more than you can ever long. Although the game is of my own making, still I must suffer to enjoy the game of realizing myself consciously in all creation.
Beautiful quote, Ron. Beautiful quote. Thank you.
Jeff, you want to unmute?
Oh, can you hear me now? Okay. I guess, I mean, I'll share my experience, which echoed a lot of what you folks have said. But, and some, why these things sometimes happen. This is what happened to me. I was married in 1972, and we went to India on our honeymoon, and it was a beautiful time. And Mara, as we were leaving, Mara said, always stay together, And so then I came back to Myrtle Beach. I had the most miserable job. It was so exhausting and painful. And they had asked for a year's commitment, and after 1 year, I was ready to quit this job. It was horrible. I don't think it helped my marriage that much either. So, but then Kitty urged me to sign on for another year. So another year of torture at this job. And after 2.5 years, I woke up one morning and Baba indicated me, and he didn't normally do things like this, but he indicated, begin taking my name. So I began taking Bob's name, and there was an urgency about it. And I went on all day, and all day and all night, taking Bob's name, all my wakeful hours. The next day I did it, and on the third day, as I was doing it, I had the feeling something drastic is going to happen. And sure enough, the next day, my wife said that she was leaving. And I was like totally devastated. I didn't anticipate it, and I was flat on my back. I mean, I did have a job that kind of kept me on my feet for a while, but then I just was sinking into this great grief and pain. And and it also was humiliating because this is one of the early divorces in Myrtle Beach. It was, and then Mara said to always stay together, and here's over. And, I felt, I mean, anyway, what happened is that Baba showed up so intimately. It was like the most loving mother. I mean, I felt him with me hour by hour, day in and day out. And I remember thinking, I mean, I actually thought at the time, you know, it is worth losing 1,000 marriages for this intimacy that I was enjoying, that I experienced from Baba. An intimacy that continued for the rest of my life. It's only deepened. But anyway, so I kind of staggered along. It was really difficult. And then I went to India after some months, and I was there for 4 months. And the Mandali were so, I was embarrassed to go. I thought maybe they wouldn't even know that this had happened. But I got there to Bombay, and one of the Arnavas's sister, you know, she embraces me and she says, "Jeff, we heard the news." I'm thinking, oh my God, now I got to go on to Mehrabad and face this and everything. But the Mandali were very loving, and Mera was, you know, never, even though we did break up, and even though Mera wished that, she never, you know, disapproved or anything. But, and then I was there, like I say, for 4 months, and then as Erich was saying goodbye, Erich was actually in tears. I had to actually comfort Erich. He must, what I felt is he must have been so touched by the healing that Baba had done in that 4 months. But like I say, I always, when I've gone through experiences like this, great crises, I go to India just to get my boat steady again. Anyway, when I returned, Kitty asked me if I wanted to work at the center. And so now I was actually free. I wouldn't have been able to work at the center without having this, hadn't happened. And the beautiful thing about it too is that in working here, I would say about half of the Baba marriages have ended in divorce, and people have come to me over the years sharing their grief and everything, and because of this, I knew exactly what they were going through and everything. So anyway, it meant that I have been at this fantastic job in the atmosphere of the center all these years, and so, and the intimacy that Baba shared with me, and like I say, a most loving mother. I couldn't have asked for more than what came out of this whole thing. So you never know. Some of these kind of tragic turns are great blessings, and that was in my case.
Jeff, let me ask you,
Yeah.
what did you say to yourself about both Mara, was it Mara or Mani Mara who wanted you to stay married, and
Yeah.
then Kitty who told you to stay in a job that you hated? We now, looking in the rearview mirror, look at how things tidied up to get you to where you are today. But what was behind their adamancy, do you think? Do you think it was like they were messaging from Baba?
No, I did. I mean, that was, I didn't, I mean, they don't kind of, they're so flexible. I mean, they see the circumstances and what, you know, they're not going to, I didn't find any disapproval from the Mandali, but I did feel, I wish I had, you know, been able to keep this marriage together. In fact, one of the things, I mean, it threw me into profound self-doubt too, because like, if I really loved her, Why would she ever leave? You know, I mean, it knocked me out. It was my first major failure in this life, uh, you know. But like I say, Baba must have had to do this to free me up, you know. So anyway, I have no complaint in the aftermath of all of that. Anybody else have a some crazy story?
We have Richard again.
Well, this is just a parenthetical, Jeff, but I refuse to wish you a happy birthday because I refuse to count down the years that are coming ahead for you and myself, you know. And I don't want that. So
Yeah.
forget the happy birthday, Jeff.
Yeah,
Stay
right.
there. Stay even keel, Jeff. Even.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Yeah.
When you reach your 80s, everything over 80 is icing on the cake, believe me. But I know many of you have, I mean, all gone through these crises and everything. I know Patty has gotten blindsided, and you shared beautifully, you know, and how you've had to go through these things. And I know Tony has had his share of battering.
You know, I'll jump in a little bit if I can, if nobody's
Yeah.
hands up. You know, listening to everyone, it's so clear from the view and the lens I look through right now, how necessary all the episodes that look tragic, and look one way or another, that bring us to our knees, literally, question our motives, question what we believe, questioning our trust in Baba, and clearly not trusting ourselves in our decisions. And that has profoundly happened my whole life, which is, I think, what's in store for everybody. Because, you know, I'm just going to divert just a little. I've started reading Devana's book about Erich, and what a journey that is inwardly now for me. And I think anybody who'll read it, there's so many stories in there that were told to us over the years of what tragedy looked like. But the hands of God were always involved, always. And being able to see it in the moment, I mean, it's difficult because you're in your emotion, you're in your mind, and the thoughts come, and the fear and the pain and the agony, and no ecstasy in those moments. But, you know, they'll pass. I mean, they'll pass. And what we think is time, and the lingering of the time, how it kind of seems stilling in those times, the pain intensifies. But truly, it's a blink. I mean, I look back now and it's a blink of this life. And what I'm gathering from everyone is the degree in which we receive and surrender to him. He'll keep asking for more. And that's my experience. And it seems that was the experience that I heard from the Mandali. You know, you can keep surrendering. And okay, you think you can be this person that he wants you to be, that he is in you. But we're not there yet. I mean, I'm not there yet, and I don't want to speak for anyone else, but it's the journey that's bringing us to him. And he has to do whatever he has to do. And I mean, I'm starting I love the new year because at the beginning of the new year, I toss out all the old stuff. I go through drawers, I go through closets. I busy myself because I don't allow myself to certain things that I'm used to having most of the year. I just am very, very directed inward. I mean, I listened to probably 4 Jamie Newell things today because the other one was canceled. And I listened to Monty, I listened to all, I had a little conversation with Rick this morning. I mean, all these things were happening. And my focus was on Baba all day. And it made it seem light and beautiful because I'm also having not a good day physiologically, but that's just life for me at this moment. And I know it will pass, or I'll pass. I mean, one or the other is going to happen. And his grace, I mean, I don't even know how to, when I see everybody that has spoken today, you see the trust and you see the love and you see the anguish and you see how much the effort we're putting in. And I think when we do that, the more he'll give us. I mean, I don't see it lightening up, but maybe it does. And I hope I'm not raining on anything, or it just seems, I mean, I think it's a way we are right now. And the world, I mean, the world is, why would we even look out there right now? I mean, you just have to keep coming back. You have to keep coming back and look towards what he promises, because I believe through all of this that we're in the right hands, in the right place, in the right time. And the gift is so enormous that we can't even really see it at this moment. So, I mean, my love to everybody, and I hope I haven't underspoken or overspoken. So,
No, you speak beautifully, really.
Jai Baba to everybody.
Yeah, Jai Baba, Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people with hands, so I'm going to go to Marion and then Tony.
Oh, thank you so much. And I appreciate everybody sharing. I don't have one incident. There are so many in my lives of where Baba has, revealed himself to me at the moment I've needed an uplifting. What I'm going to do my best to share is that somebody that shared sparked this. I have, because of Baba's, in another program where I did my training for my career in counseling, it was so much like Baba's words of that Baba came with a triad nature, knowledge, power, bliss. And so in my training, it was that we all have that triad nature. And in my training, it was love. It was like the head, heart, and creator, knowledge, power, bliss was used in those terms. And so then in the defense, because I had to learn about the defense, when I fall into offense, it's reason, will, and emotion. And all defenses are just a distortion of the higher self. So, and I've helped other people with that, and I do that. So I learned about my personality of trying to be the good girl and always being good. All of my bad girl stuff went into my unconscious. So the bad girl has to come out too. I say that with humor. And so what happened is that I learned from all of my transformational work that for me to complain is very healthy, because as Baba said, we're here to bring the unconscious to consciousness. So all my complaints tend to go into my unconscious, so I got to bring them out. So I use Baba's, mainly the Ancient One picture by the side of my bed. And so I have some complaining sessions every day. I put it in my to-do list to have my complaining sessions with Baba. And and when I do, and I blame everybody, I throw people off the George Washington Bridge, I do everything that is very mean and horrible, but I'm giving it to Baba, and I'm saying I'm releasing what has been stored in my energy field and is being triggered by an outer person or event. So Baba really smiles when I let out my complaining. So one day, and so as I walk down the street, I might have complaints also about all kinds of things. And then it started this last year that the silence, Baba's silence comes. And what I hear is that in English, the loving, loving, soft voice, you belong to me. And then I know there's nothing in my outer world that can totally defeat me. And I feel a lot of that. I have a lot of challenges right now. But then that voice, when I get really quiet and I go through my complaining, it's a gateway. The complaining's a gateway. And I hear, you belong to me. So I just wanted to share that.
Beautiful. Yeah. I know that belonging is our greatest treasure, I would say.
Yeah.
Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Yes. Well, the first, I had something else in mind, but first I want to say, Marion, so every time I turn on the news and I hear that someone's been thrown off the George Washington Bridge, that was you doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, I know someone
It's
who's
my,
famous.
it's my favorite bridge to throw everybody off. Yes, yes.
Well, we've got the Golden Gate Bridge there on the right there of you on the gallery.
So I didn't have much to say, and I've shared a lot. And the thing is, I have shared a lot, and they're good stories and they're worth sharing. But I've shared a lot, especially here, and the story with my daughter, which now is much better. It's not exactly what I would like, but now that I accept what is, I'm really enjoying it. But it was looking very critical for a while, and the relationship where I put my life in Paula's hand. Oh my God! And, all of these things. Who's that? Who's that?
I think
Tina.
Tina, you got your you're not muted. Yeah.
Thank you. So, and I didn't know, well, when you mentioned about my stories, what came to mind was my mother. Used to always, I'd call my mother about once a week. We'd go over when we could, but I'd call, we're in Queens, but Queens can be a big place, but I'd call at least once a week. And invariably, whenever I called, it would begin, I'd say, hi, Mom. She said, hi, you forgot you had a mother? And I said, what do you mean? Here I am. You don't call. You don't. I'm on the phone with you now. And at some point, and it was frustrating because I didn't really know what else to do except drop everything and run over at that moment. And then she had I guess they call it a mini stroke or a minor ischemology, but I forget what it's called now. But something got short-circuited in her mind, in her thinking, in her brain. And when I called up, she didn't say that. And from that moment on, every week we had the most wonderful conversations, which we had never had in my whole life. Because whatever that thing in her brain that was stuck on, I'm being neglected, I'm not being remembered, or whatever it was gone, and everything became okay. And in a way, I bring that up because I feel like maybe I have needed all of these stories that Baba has given me, all of these major dramatic crises to remember him, and I'm grateful. I'm definitely grateful for his hand. And by the way, I told my story at the 30 years at the UN with Baba, and it's on Mayor Sipas, and it was on Baba Zoom this weekend. And I invite you to come and listen. They're good stories. But for the most part, I'm not having crises I don't feel like I need crises anymore. And it's the crises I have are like, Baba, what do you want me to do right now? Or who do you want me to be now? And is there something that you want me to do, and how do you want me to do it? And I kind of look at myself, what am I feeling? Where's this feeling coming from? Where is this reaction coming from? And it doesn't require crisis. It's more like growing in Baba, I guess. And I was reluctant to share now because I don't want to like jinx it and give Baba the notion that I need another crisis, but I don't. I'm really, I would like help, in sorting out who I am in him, in Baba, and what he wants me to do and to be in a particular situation with a particular person. Those have become, or even just like, yeah, just that, the regular day-to-day stuff. And I have a feeling as long as that goes on, then whatever crises come along will be the normal crises that we all get every, time to time. That's what I didn't share before, though. That's not a really exciting share.
Yeah, no, but I like what you say is after all these years, when a lot of the crises have gone, it's what would Baba like me to do now in this moment?
And the Carly Simon song was running through my head as I was speaking. I haven't got time for the pain. It's like I've got pains. I've got a problem with my knee, and I've got whatever thing, some interpersonal thing. But it's like I don't have time to make a bigger thing of it than it is, or at least for not longer than necessary. Jay Baba.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. Yeah.
Let's go to Ron.
I have another quote from Baba. I don't have a story for us at this point,
Yeah.
but so the thing about the quote that I read before, and also this one, is they were specifically sent to a particular person. However, for myself, I can relate to both of them, but keep in mind that Baba works with us individually. So see what this. I think this speaks to what we're talking about from Baba's point of view, and he's got this to say about it. So. A true lover has not only to face such situations of storm and stress, thick and thin, but has also to wade through them neck deep, to have the embrace of the beloved of his heart. A true lover has not only to face such situations of storm and stress, thick and thin, but has also to wade through them neck deep, to have the embrace of the beloved of his heart. To have the embrace of the beloved of his heart.
Beautiful, Ronnie.
I forgot to say something that I should have said, which is where that quote is from and who it was directed to. You might find that part interesting. I'm sorry I didn't say it before, but it's there was a fellow named Ramakrishnan who ran he was like the administrator or secretary of the Pune Center, and that was not an easy job. Like Jeff said, he had a hard job, right? this was a hard job. And there were so many Baba lovers in Pune, and they all had, their own judgments about what was going on, what should happen, all this kind of thing. And it just became rather overwhelming for him because he felt like he had to deal with it all. And so he wrote to Baba telling him how difficult his situation was. And this is what Baba chose to say to him. Now, I don't know if he would have said that to anybody else, but nevertheless, at some time, that might be a worthwhile thing to hear from Baba.
Yeah, well, can you just recite it? Would you think you remember it well enough? And then maybe we could have a few moments of silence after this. Yeah.
A true lover has not only to face such situations of storm and stress, thick and thin, but has also to wade through them neck deep to have the embrace of the beloved of his heart.
Yeah. In the early years of Mandala used to say, he'll bring it up to here, bring the, but it doesn't go above your nose. They used to do that in the early years, and then they stopped doing it. I don't think that was very comforting to us young people. But Baba, bring it right up to the brink. But anyway, I think let's have a few moments of silence, and yeah. Jai Baba.
Would you like a quote?
Jeff, may I share something, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, in listening to everybody today, I really felt all your stories. It touched me so much. But the one thing that keeps coming to my mind is, and I've shared my stories many times, so I'm not going to get into any of that. But just so you know that what comes to me is that in our limited capacity, sometimes when we go through these tremendous crises in our lives, we are not seeing the whole entire picture because of our limited selves, right? Baba sees the whole picture. So I came across two things that I wanted to share. One is a Baba quote, and I'll end with that. But this other little reading that I have is from a book about Christ's disciples. And it goes like this. It says, "No man suffers because of a neglectful God. Man builds his own body by his past and present thoughts and deeds. Creation contains no accidents or injustice. That which appears as physical misfortune is but the love of God operating in a concealed manner, providing special experiences needed by the afflicted. When that particular experience has served its purpose, the appearance of misfortune will be no more."
Beautiful.
That is one. And Baba says, when everything goes wrong, the mind becomes helpless and it has to rely entirely on the heart. These are the moments when you resign to my will and so rely solely on my help. When you leave all to me, I dare not, care not, and you are relieved from the predicament. Jai Baba.
Yeah. That I dare not, care not.
Yeah.
But
But you
I
have
do
to
feel. What?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You have to come to that point of total surrender to him. And then whatever happens, you say, Baba, it'll be your will. I will accept whatever comes my way as your will. And then leave
Yeah.
it to him. And then the magic happens.
Yeah, I do feel like we are going to be so grateful at where Baba eventually brings us. I mean, even where I was, 50 some years ago and where I am now, I wouldn't change any of that for where I am now. And he knows what he's doing, but it doesn't seem, the method we may not see and agree with, but he really takes us to a beautiful place, much more universal place than our little locality, Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just one little thing.
Yeah.
That in the past week, a situation came up where someone was sort of out of the blue, lovely person, but out of the blue, confronting me with this kind of very provocative stuff, and it was going back and forth, and I didn't know how to get out of it, and I said something, and then I turned around, and there was someone who really needed comforting, and instantly, by Baba's grace, I shifted totally out of this insane head thing and let the heart give comfort to the person that needed it. And as I left that place, I gave that same heart energy to the person who had been being provocative. And it was like, that's all Baba wants, is just get out of the head space, get into the heart space, remember me and love me and the other person. Yeah.
Beautiful. Really. Yeah. Any last comments before we disappear?
I have a little comment to
Yeah.
everyone. I just wanted to let everyone know that Jeff was wringing his hands, just sure this was not going to be a good topic, and what was anybody going to say, and it was going to be too. And I just want him to realize that I think that most of us had a very touching, and I had a very touching and fulfilling.
Yeah. No, thank you. I mean, it's wonderful that people share who they are because it helps all of us. Because don't feel like we're singled out by the universe for a bad time. We've all had to deal with things and face things.
I was hoping to set up an acupuncture appointment with you, Marta.
Yeah. Yeah. And Johannes is up so early and everything like that, and he managed to stay awake.
Thank
Where's
you.
Sabine? Where's Sabine at? Johannes, where's
She's
Sabine?
in India.
Okay, at the
She's in India.
Yeah.
She returns in 3 weeks.
She's soaking it up.
And
Yeah.
getting very
Yeah.
good acupuncture treatments while she's there.
Yeah. 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 So, say, if anybody has a topic or something that you feel would be worth, delving into, feel free to email me, and I'll see what I can do. Try to kind of unpack it a little bit so you have a little something to go with.
Jeff, I have a little idea. I'm going to just shoot it out real quick, but I've been thinking about this, and I've always wanted to escape the confusion, the world, the illusion, the difficulty, the trauma, the unexpected, whatever, and just have a peaceful little existence somewhere. I don't know where that's at. And the more that I really meditate on Baba's work, what he's done in my life, and what I think little I've been able to see in others and around me, I don't think that's it at all. I think we're here in illusion for the long haul, and it's holding on to his Dhamma while we're here. That is, he says that's the goal, but there is no way out, so to speak. That is the only experience. That is it.
Yeah.
You could speak to that.
Yeah. Yeah, the saying, the way is through, not around. Yeah.
Can I make a comment about the meeting that we've just been through? I wanted to say I appreciated everybody's input, especially the storytellers who have shared something about themselves that was sincere, powerful, intense at times, and I feel that I want this to be an encouragement to all of us to share stories in these kinds of get-togethers, or if you meet somebody, you know, at the center or in India or something like that, to tell our stories to one another is a very important thing, so that we can know each other. We get to know each other. I mean, to some extent, we get to know each other. And the beauty of getting to know somebody in a way, like because they told you their stories, is you will have such a great opportunity to like that person. And if we like each other, we're apt to help each other. And nothing can be better than that. I don't think we can do better than liking and helping each other. So I encourage storytelling.
Yeah, you know, I've shared this before, but someone asked Erich, is Baba going to become a religion? And Erich said, Baba was adamant that it not become a religion. And so this person said, it was Dick Anthony, how can we keep it from becoming a religion? And Erich said, if his lovers would get together in small groups and share their inner experiences, it could be averted. Because everybody is too unique to make an organization or a set of norms and precepts and everything. And we're all coming at this thing from different angles, you know. So you can't make it, there's just, you know, 30, 40 individuals that are all, you just can't find a commonality as far as making an organization out of it. And yeah. But anyway, I'll let you go. It's kind of late.
Jeff, can I just ask you one thing?
Yeah.
What is your email?
Okay, is Baba's Jeff 7 with no
Baba's?
apostrophe.
Oh, no,
BABAS JEFF 7
Okay.
at gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if after all those stories, there's still someone you can't find your way to liking, there's always the George Washington Bridge.
Yes. Or the Golden Gate Bridge
Or
is
the
better.
Golden-
You go in style.
And as Baba said to one of his women disciples who was having difficulty getting along with the other women, you don't have to like everybody, but you have to love everybody.
Yeah. Yep.
Or
Not
one could go on
emotional
to
love.
Brooklyn.
Not
One could go
emotional
on-
love, but right action. Right action.
And the beautiful thing is when you see some of these people that you've never seen in person, it's like a great reunion. It's fantastic. I mean, you know, you've been seeing these people on, I mean, I haven't seen Marion, but if, you know, when we see each other in person, we're going to have a good big laugh. You know, really. It is really something to see someone that you've been just seeing on the screen in person. It's a great treat. Yeah, it magnifies, amplifies the relationship incredibly. Yeah.
Jeff, I'd like to say something. I
Yeah.
wanted to thank Ron Greenstein and Lisa for probably in the early 1980s when I was desperately needing a place to stay for the evening, and you all let me stay at your place in Northern California. I don't know if you remember, your daughters were small. And also one could go just to the Brooklyn Bridge and read Hart Crane's poetry and maybe become a poetry superstar.
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of lovely things. Hey, did someone said that Farish Day, is she here, Farish Day?
No, he was making a joke about that she brought the other bridge.
Oh, okay.
You brought the
Yeah.
Golden Gate Bridge.
Uh-huh. Anyway,
right. Good night.
see all of you. Have a nice week, and we'll see what we come up with next week. Okay?
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Jay Baba.